everyone, welcome back to my channel and you're watching The Brown Feminist. In today's video, I will be telling you everything that you need to know in order to prepare to live and rent in the city of Ottawa, Ontario. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I have lived in Ottawa for years and years, but very recently I moved out of Ottawa, lived in Montreal for a year, and as I was moving back in, I realized how different the rental scene is right now. It was actually quite challenging to find a good rental spot within the city of Ottawa, almost like it would be in busy cities like New York or Toronto. So after doing all of my research and going through months of struggle, I was finally able to find a nice, beautiful apartment, which was also in my budget range. So what I want to do today is tell you how you can be prepared with everything so you can also find your kind of dream apartment in the city of Ottawa. Now, Ottawa is in the National Capital Region of Canada. It's definitely a beautiful city to be living in, and if you're a homeowner, it's an excellent place to buy because while prices are high, they're not crazy high like other places in Vancouver or in Toronto. However, if you're renting, it's a whole different ballgame. There's not as many rental apartments as there are people and students willing to rent. As a result, it can be quite challenging to find that little perfect apartment that's right in your budget. So the number one tip I want to give you is start searching early and do a lot of research. While nobody is going to give you a rental apartment 6 months in advance, but it's always good to start looking on the online groups and kind of identify which kind of neighborhoods you want to look at, what kind of apartments you want to look at, and so on. Number two, the tip I want to send you next is that you have to look in multiple platforms. And what that means is don't just go onto Kijiji, don't just go onto rentals.ca and just one website and think that's it. There's actually a lot of different platforms and every platform has at least a couple of good listings that might work for you. For example, I actually went onto Facebook, I went onto Facebook Marketplace, put in my location as Ottawa, and then search for rentals, rental apartments, rental homes, rent, tenant, things like that. And I got a lot of ads on Facebook Marketplace because a lot of actually the homeowners are featuring their ads there. Secondly, I've also gone onto various different Facebook groups. So if you go onto Facebook and type things like Ottawa rental, rent in Ottawa, home rentals in Ottawa, terms like these, then you'll come up with a couple of good Facebook groups. Most Facebook groups have a niche. Some of them have specific rentals near the Algonquin, Carleton area. Some of them are more downtown, center town areas. But each Facebook group will have its own kind of people who will be advertising for homes in those kind of areas that this group covers. And that's also an excellent place to be finding your rentals. Because the truth is that not every home that's being rented in Ottawa is going to get picked up by one of those bigger kind of real estate style websites. So just searching on one website will mean you're going to miss out on quite a few opportunities to find your dream apartment. But definitely do look at those websites, do visit Kijiji often, do look at Facebook Marketplace, and also join some Facebook groups. Number three, know the kind of building that you actually want to get into. Are you open to living in a basement apartment? Because they come with their own sets of pros and cons. Yes, sometimes basement apartments can actually be cheaper and have more space than you were renting out. At the same time, there might be a question of privacy because there's someone living right above you. The heating control might be more controlled by the landlords upstairs. They might be more strict about how many people you can have over, what time of the day or night you can have visitors. There might be a shared entrance or an individual entrance. Some basements are not as well maintained by the landlords. Not all of them are registered to be independent apartments, which means if they're not registered as apartments and you don't have a formal lease, then you might not have your tenants' rights protected. So there's a lot to consider before you decide if your basement apartment is right for you. On the other hand, there's also apartments in apartment buildings and condos. There's also ways to rent with roommates in townhouses and independent homes, or you can actually rent a whole house on your own as well. Sometimes if you have enough people in your family, in your immediate family that's renting together, it might even be cheaper to just rent a house because it'll have 2-3 bedrooms and you don't have to worry about splitting with anyone, and that's also a good choice. So definitely think a lot about what kind of accommodation is right for you before you go in and start trying to rent. Number 4, I had to learn this the hard way, but when you are renting in an apartment building, please go to Google and look at the reviews. A lot of the time, some deals look like they're too good to be true, and often they are. I actually was trying to rent and found an apartment that was quite affordable. It was beautifully renovated on the inside with like all stainless steel appliances, lots of space, parking. They were giving me 3 months free rent. That means the first 3 months I don't have to pay rent in my lease, and then I start paying. It was almost too good to be true. But thankfully, a friend told me to go online and check on Google and make sure the reviews are good. I realized that rental property management company did not have a good reputation at all. There were lots and lots of complaints over a period of 4, 5, 6 past years, talking about how the building often has bed bugs and cockroaches, and the landowners were never actually exterminating the bugs in the whole building. They would only do like one apartment at a time, and so soon enough, the apartments would be repopulated with like cockroaches or bed bugs from the other kind of places they were hiding in other apartments on that floor. There were also other issues with just management and parking spaces, and so many complaint after complaint, and there were a pattern of these complaints coming from people of various different kind of time points of the last 5-10 years, which means these problems were not actually solved. So whenever you are renting, please go to the reviews, whether it's on Facebook, look at their sellers ratings, or go to actually Google and just type up the apartment address, and you will be able to typically see if that rental property management company has a good reputation or not. Number 5 is before you actually go and ask to view an apartment, do your research and be sure that it's going to be worth that trip. And I say this because nowadays, a lot of these landlords and landowners or homeowners are starting to put in like a bizarre amount of pre-screening documents and this and that before you can even view a place. So that means it's going to be a lot of work for you to be filling all that up, qualifying, going to view it. And by the time you decide, sometimes it's a good one and it's gone, which means that you have to be pretty quick on your toes. As soon as you see a listing, do a mental check off what all the things does it have. Is it covering utilities? Is it covering rent? What's the rent? Is it too good to be true? Is the rating good? Is the neighborhood working for me? Is it close to my work? What kind of climate is in that neighborhood? Is it child friendly? Is it close to your kid's school? So do that mental checklist pretty quick within like an hour. And then if you're applying for it, be pretty ready to go and bid for that place. Number 6 is be fast. When you see what you like, don't wait around a few more days to finish all of your viewings to bid for it. I know that doesn't sound like a safe decision, because how can you know what you like if you haven't seen everything out there? But that is exactly what your research months were for. During your research months is when you have the luxury of time. You can just go see a place, go see this now. You have 5 months before you're moving. You have 4 months, you have 3 months. But once you're at the point that you have 2 months or 1.5 months left to move, that's when you are no longer shopping or window shopping for rentals. That's when you're gonna have to get on your game and actually go out there. You already know what the tricks of the game are. You already know what you want and what you're looking for. And once you've seen it, even if it's that first apartment you're seeing seriously and you like it, fill out that application that same day. The rental market is now so competitive in Ottawa that if you're not bidding for it right away, you can lose out on it. Number 7 is to have all the documents ready before you go for a viewing. And that way, if you like a viewing, you can put down your stuff instantly. What documents should you be thinking of? So right now in the Ottawa renters market, the kind of things you would need to have is, of course, your ID cards, which means like a proof of photo ID, like a passport or a provincial ID, a driving license, something like that. Number 2, you would need a history of references of past places where you've rented and past people who can give you a good reference and say, yes, I know them. I can give them a character reference. I know they pay their rent and bills on time, things like that. Next thing would be a copy of your credit report. You want to show them that you have a solid, good credit score. And the final document you should be taking with you are copies of your pay stub. What is the income source and how are you paying for that apartment? If it's coming through your salary, you should take a few months worth of pay stubs. If it's coming through like a student scholarship, you should take a proof of that. If you have your parents helping you out, you might need to have a guarantor present to say, okay, their income is going to qualify you for that apartment because they are supporting you in the rent. So all of these documents, it's really good to have them compiled and ready to go when you're starting your final round of like serious viewing and you're ready to put down your bid. Now, this is the final tip, and this is really important. When you're deciding on the apartment you are going to take and you're thinking of affordability, one thing you must think of are hidden costs. When you're looking at rent, did you ask, are the utilities included? Did you count, was the parking included? Did you count any extra commuting that you would need to do? Did you think of extra gas you would need to spend to get to work or getting to school? Did you ask within utilities what exactly is covered? Is water, is hydro, is gas, is snow cleaning, snow removal? Are all those things covered or not? Is the laundry within the apartment or not? Is there a dishwasher within the apartment or not? Remember to ask all of the right questions. There is no limitation to the number of questions you should be asking during that final visit when you want to be 100% sure, okay, I'm going to look at this apartment. I have a month and a half. If I'm absolutely sure and I absolutely love it, I will put a bid down. Now, this doesn't mean that an apartment will have 100% of the things you like. Obviously, nothing is perfect unless you have a giant budget. It's hard to get all of the things you desire. But it's important to know exactly what you're giving up and what you're getting, and if that compromise is worth your deal. So, all that being said, these were the tips and tricks to be renting an apartment in Ottawa. If you like this video, do hit the subscribe button and see more content just like this. I will be sharing more videos with you guys as I move to Ottawa. Moving day is gonna be something. Already not excited about it. So until next time, this was the Brown Feminist, and hope you enjoy the city of Ottawa. Bye.